This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge. Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's pod. This is over the week of May 5th, 2025. And if you're listening to this on the day that we released it, Phil and I may or may not be on an airplane. We may or may not be at Hollywood Studios, and we may or may not be sharing beer with our friend Matt from the Diz Happenings podcast. Phil, are you excited to go on our trip?
I am excited. I'm actually very excited. Little antsy about the whole timing thing and everything, and just how early we have to get up to get to the airport and stuff like that.
I'm used to traveling this early, so this is like not a big deal for me because I do this quite often for work. However, it hasn't really hit me yet that like I will be at Hollywood Studios. Well, I mean, we're recording this on Sunday, so it's like 36 hours, ish, roughly, right? Because it's if you're listening to this, this podcast will be published about 45 minutes before we touch ground at MCO. I think right. We're landing at 8:49 or something else like that. Mm-hmm. So if you've been listening the last 2 weeks, we've been kind of planning the trip, and our plan for this trip is not planning this trip. I was away for work. Yeah. So I was away for work this week. So Phil diligently got all of our lightning lanes booked. Phil, what did you get for us? Do you have that in front of you?
Yeah, well, I remember it. So we obviously at Hollywood Studios, there are tiers there and stuff. So we were trying to pick things that were obviously important to us for doing on this trip and things that we thought would be fun to do as a group. So our tier 1 selection was Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, obviously your favorite ride in the whole world. That's 10 times better than Rise of the Resistance and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, I will get revenge on this show with that comment. Okay, go ahead.
And then, but one of the focuses was doing Muppet Vision, so we have a lightning lane for that. And then actually our first one of the day is for Star Tours, because those two were both relatively easy to get, and that's the order they came up in. So Matt was able to get the same ones, even though he was only able to book 3 days out. So kind of goes to show you we're not picking the hardest ones to get. But yeah, so we'll be tapping into Star Tours, and then I guess we'll be thinking about what other tier 1s are available that we want to do after that. But Star Tours, then we'll kind of hang out in Muppets Courtyard. We have our early Mama Melrose reservation, and then we'll be heading into, after kind of taking in all of Muppets Courtyard, heading into Galaxy's Edge and spending a good amount of time there.
Yep. So, I mean, you did a very good job. Apparently, you didn't need to do a very good job because it was pretty easy to get what you wanted at this point.
I wasn't like stressed about it or anything, but I'm like, well, I'm already up and I have the time, so I might as well just do it like right at 7, and that's what we got. So it was like, it was what it was. But
and then Matt's is like, oh, I'm going to struggle. I'm 3D. And then like, he's like, his screenshot of his lightning lanes just basically mirrors ours. And I think there's like a difference of like 10 minutes on something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's pretty good. We're set to go. So here's a couple things. So like I said a second ago, it hasn't hit me that I've been busy with work the last week. So like tomorrow's kind of like a run some errands kind of day at work. I got a couple things I got to do, but it's like whatever. And it hasn't really hit me that I'm going, that my wife came up to me and said like, when are you going exactly? Like, when are you leaving? When are you getting back? Type thing. When does your plane land and stuff like that? And I tell her, I'm kind of jealous that you're going down to Disney World. You never bring up, let's go to Disney World for like a day or two. So like, you know what? I still have points. We can go back down. She's like, and I'm like, well, it cost us, I think like $500 a day to be down there if we want single day tickets and a long weekend. So that type of thing. So I just kind of got a chuckle out of that. But again, it's like, I don't really feel like we're going, because now the things I'm like, I got to pack. I have a small bag. I know I'm not talking in front of the mic. Hold on a second. I don't know if my camera's going to be able to show this, but I'm not talking in front. I don't know if the camera shows this up well, but I've got a small bag, right? So if you can see, it's basically the half a size
of
a
like a sling bag type thing, yeah.
And this is what I want to bring, because the only thing I need is like clean set of clothes for the next day. So how tight can I wrap up like underwear, socks? I guess technically I don't need, I'm not wearing Crocs or anything, so I definitely need socks. A t-shirt and clean pair of shorts or something else like that. I was like, if I can get like one of those vacuum seal bags or something else like that, squeeze all the air, shove it in the bottom, I should be able to walk on the plane with this shoulder strap bag and be good, because what else do I need to bring other than that, right? I
Yep.
don't expect to be buying any kind of souvenirs, but at worst, I'll buy like a shirt down there. Maybe I don't need a clean shirt because I'll buy one when I'm down there. I don't know.
That's the plan.
Right? Well, I don't know. So I'm
Yeah.
like thinking about all this type of stuff, and I'm like, all right, I got to pack. And then I've been charging. I don't know, Phil. What should I bring? I have the 50th anniversary. This is I hate to. When podcast YouTubers do this, but I've got like the standard Magic Band 50th anniversary one, and I've got my Disney Dad Magic Band Plus. Right? It's just this is the class.
Yeah.
Everybody's got one of these things. So I'm like, do I bring the regular one? Do I bring the Magic Band Plus one? I don't know, Phil. Which one should I bring? Both. What should I do?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, I guess unless you're worried about, the only thing it would really light up for, I guess, is if we stay for Phantasmic and stuff like that. And I don't know if we're going to be going around trying to get it to vibrate by the statues and stuff. I just don't know how much of the plussing action we would get there. So I usually try to tailor the ones I wear to what park I'm going to. So I'll probably wear my either my Star Wars or my Goofy one or something like that.
Well, that's the thing. I don't have a lot of these are my two main Magic Bands, other than the colored ones I have. I've never really splurged on like big ones before, so it'd be weird if I've got the Disney Dad one because I'm not there as a dad. I'm there.
Yeah,
as
that's
guy,
another
right?
point.
Weird. So I'm stuck with the 50th anniversary one that I got with my first adult only trip that I did was like 2 years ago, I guess at this point. So now I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll buy a new Magic Band while I'm down there. But then it's not going to work when I'm down there because
you need something to get into the park at least first and stuff.
Right,
you're going to get it at the airport or something. I don't know.
Right. Again, like if it's a Magic Band Plus, it's not going to work the day that I'm there anyway, right? Because you got to charge it and everything else like that. And why would I want to buy a OG Magic Band, not a Magic Band Plus? So I'm stuck, Phil. So I'm probably gonna end up just bringing both of them and just shove it in the bottom of my bag.
Yeah.
Because the one that's not a Magic Band Plus is now 3 years old or 2.5 years old. That might not work. The Magic Band Plus one actually works, but it says Dad on it walking around. So what I'm gonna, I have Disney problems, Phil. This is just Disney problems that no one really cares about. Other than that, I don't think we need to really pack anything else, right? I'm thinking like we're not doing anything differently or anything else.
I plan on packing the same. I'll bring down some small bottles of sunscreen and stuff like that because it is supposed to be like sunny and 91 degrees or something like that.
Yep.
I'm bringing a slightly bigger bag because I'll have a water bottle and I probably might buy some souvenirs mostly. And one thing that I am getting a little excited about is most of the May the 4th stuff. There's like special souvenirs and stuff like that. So I'll probably want to scope out some of that and might get the special mug at Oga's and things like that. So I want to have a little bit of room so I can not have to squeeze things too tight and stuff like that. But
I might abuse your
extra room
bag capacity if you're going to bring something.
Definitely still just a backpack. I'm not bringing like, a roll-on super, but just a bigger backpack than you'll have.
The only thing I think about purchasing, because my mother's birthday is coming up and she's coming on our trip this summer. And we bought her, one of her favorite characters is Remy. And we bought her like a Remy Loungefly. So now all the women in the family have a Loungefly. So I don't have to carry their stuff anymore. I'm very excited about that. But she needs a Magic Band. Like the last time she was in Disney was in 2022. And I think she just had like a gray Magic Band or whatever. So we want to get her a Magic Band Plus. So I'm going to keep my eye out for a Remy Magic Band Plus because there's none available as like the pre-purchase options.
Yeah, we'll have to see it. I mean, obviously, if we were over in Epcot, it'd be a lot easier. I don't know if they'll have one in Hollywood Studios, but maybe in one of the main stores. We'll take a look.
I think we can take a walk. We can buzz by and take a look at things. A couple other things I want to make sure that we do. I am a Mammoth Club fan, and I'm not a really big coffee drinker. I try not to be because as much as I enjoy coffee, it's not good for you if you drink too much of it. But I always love, as Molly from Mammoth Club mentions, the shaky Jamaican. The shaky
those are good.
Jamaican, they're very tasty, and I have not been able to find an equivalent up here in Maryland. I want to get a margarita at Docksides beyond all the Muppet stuff that we're going to be doing. The one thing I totally forgot that you mentioned last week that we're doing is the Oga's Cantina thing. I did that with my wife back in November because it was like I gotta get this off my bucket list. I enjoy this. I don't want to bring my kids in there because they're just going to get like really antsy and kind of just after like the first drink they're going to be wandering around trying to disrupt other people. So my wife's not a big Star Wars fan, so I'm eager to be in there where we can actually relax and my wife's not a drinker, so I'm sitting there having an adult beverage. She's just sitting there watching me like act like a little kid in the middle of the canteen for the first time.
No, it's
So
definitely fun to go to be there with more people that are more into it, more Star Wars fans and stuff like that for sure. So definitely should have a good time there.
One of the things I want to do is I want to make sure we get a spot at the bar, because I had one of those like long table, like the second row tables. That's like,
the high top things that you stand at. Yeah,
it's basically a 2x4 with legs on it, and we had to share that with another family of three other adults, and it was just kind of awkward, whatever. Yeah. So anyway, we're trying to get one of my objectives is to get a spot at the bar so we can play like Star Wars OT Cantina scene standing at the bar. I think that'd be kind of fun. Now, my other question, Phil, is what is our rule? We're 10 minutes into what a 2-minute segment is on the show here. What is our rule for pictures? Are we going to try to like take pictures to commemorate the situation, put it on socials, put it in Discord, that type of thing? Or are we just going to take some random pictures and have some fun with it?
I think my thought was take a couple at least to put out on socials, get like maybe picture of all of us in Ogas and stuff like that. And then maybe in Muppets, we do like a short little video we could put out on Instagram or something like that. I don't want to overdo it, but I also do want to take advantage of the fact that the three of us will be together for the first time in one place and stuff like that. So I definitely want to commemorate it and have a couple things to put out. But we'll pick and choose our spots. It's not going to be like constant videoing and all that sort of stuff.
No, as much as I would love to do that, I also just want to enjoy my day at this point, right? All right, so
Phil, I'd say it's a 95% enjoyment, 5% social mediaing.
Yeah, I like maybe 3% instead of 5%. We'll say, Phil. Last question for you before we get on to the news is, what do you think? I'm springing this question on you. What do you think would be the longest trip that you could take? That's basically what we're doing. We're doing a down and back one day type of deal. What would be the longest trip that both of us could take, with maybe meeting Matt down there or somebody else down there, before it got quote unquote too awkward or we would get in trouble with our significant others?
I would say by day 3 might be challenges, because I think all of a sudden people would want to do different things or like get stretched and I don't know. I think we could have like kind of orderly for the first couple days, and then by day 3 people would be like, let's just go to Geyser Point or whatever, and then all of a sudden we're having too many beers, or I don't know. That's the first number that came to my mind.
Well, for me, like, I was thinking more like, I don't think my wife would let me be on a vacation longer than maybe an extended weekend before she start getting jealous of like, why aren't you bringing me type of thing. Because I know I have plenty of guy friends that do like their once a year guy trip where they go like fishing or camping or something. Golfing, right? Yeah. Exactly. So I don't have anything like that. And I think to me, if I were to do like I think like 5 days would be like, including your travel days where you have like 3 full days down there. I think that might be the limit of the expectations of my family to me be doing a Disney World vacation without them. Right. But I think we could spend, let's say, ignore that part of things, Phil. I think we could spend a whole week down there just kind of doing whatever.
I'm sure we could do it, but I don't know. I was trying to think, like, maybe it's just because I have this mindset of like, we're going down to do something specific. And I feel like we would have that for a couple days. And then after a while, like, I don't know if we'd have the vacation and stuff like that when we're down there without our families as well and stuff like that. Or we're just like lounging by the pool and things. Like, I don't know if we'd really do that stuff.
No, but I would be lounging by the bar having a couple of beers somewhere. I know that. And to me, like, going down where it's either like my wife and myself or, something like this that we're doing this week, to me, that's like a free Disney vacation, right? It's like a free, like, out of planning aspect. Because when my wife was down, we were just kind of doing whatever made us happy that set of hours, right? When I go down there with my family, it's more like I got to make sure the whole family gets their money's worth, because I'm paying for 4 other people, 5 other people, sure. Right? But if I'm down there with friends that isn't my family, I think that I could be like, we could do whatever, because it's basically, this doesn't count as a Disney vacation because I still have the one with the family coming up in the short term. I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to do it. I don't think I can get away with doing 5 days.
Yeah, that feels like
without them. That's long, and I don't think I could get away with that. But I don't know. I just found that interesting. Like, what would you do at Disney World? Maybe that could be a DVC engagement question in a couple of weeks. Like, what would you do? And how differently would you be plan your Disney World vacation if you were going down with friends versus family? Of course, this is a question for people that aren't going down on their own or with their friends already, because there's plenty of you out there that are doing that type of thing. But speaking from a father of 3 with a wife going down there routinely once a year, what would that be like?
Yeah.
So that's an interesting question. All right, so okay, we're like a fourth of the way through this show
I know.
already, and now we're on to the news. What happened this week? Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so I'll try to get through some of this quickly. One of the big stories that came out and kind of think caught people a little bit by surprise was that Universal announced that Volcano Bay is going to be, first of all, they're removing their Tapu Tapu technology. That's starting this October 1st, that they will be removing it. For those of you who don't know about that, that was kind of a thing they were touting as a big thing when this park first opened.
Yeah.
You got the equivalent of a magic band when you went to the park, and you would use it to tap in and make reservations for the big water slides. And the idea being that it's where you're at a water park, you're there to relax. You don't have to stand in line for 2 hours. You just kind of get your reservation, then chill in the lazy river or whatever, and just kind of hang out until it's your time. So they're giving up, I guess, on that technology. We've gotten some word from some people with some insiders that there's just the technology was a lot to maintain and that sort of thing. It was just becoming more of a burden than maybe they thought it would be, and the benefits, I guess, just weren't seen. I do know those bands actually also activate some like lighting effects on like the lazy river and things in certain areas. So I don't know if those will still happen at all, if all that's going away. So that's a little bit of a bummer for people that I think really enjoy that park, and it was something that sort of set it apart from other water parks.
Well, I mean, like, whenever somebody says that Disney's going to cheap out on things, because there's a comment like Disney's always cheapening out, they're cheap, they always cancel, they always cut things. They're still putting new effects for Magic Band Pluses in the parks. And here you have Universal that doesn't have anything like that. They're getting rid of it completely. So I just want to point that out, that Disney still goes above and beyond with some of this stuff.
Yeah. And then the other thing they announced is that it's going to have a seasonal closure. I initially thought it was this October, like October 26th, but it actually is October 26th, 2026. So like, about 18 months from now. And then it said it'll reopen on or before March 24th. So it'll be closed for about 5 months. It was interesting that they're using the term seasonal. I think some people latched onto that and said like, oh, is the park going seasonal? Kind of like how, Disney closes one of the water parks or whatever. But as far as we know, it's just for the 1 year. We think there's some, slides need replacing and just like kind of more than just like regular maintenance. They need to close it for a while to do significant maintenance, and then it'll be back open. But it'll be interesting to see if are just water parks not as popular as they used to be, and it'll go seasonal and that sort of thing. I just found it interesting because they were touting, now with Epic, they have 4 theme parks, and it's a whole, now you can do a whole week here and stuff like that. And then
not anymore.
Epic's not even opened, and they're talking about this one being closed for 5 months. So I guess we'll see.
I mean, I think, I don't know, like you mentioned, like the word seasonal is kind of like telling. Like if it was going down for like maintenance, you would think that they would mention like, extended maintenance or something.
Yeah, just saying that we're giving you a heads up. It's going to be closed because we need to do significant maintenance. It's going to be closed, but and maybe they just mean seasonal because, hey, we're picking the winter months to do this.
I don't know,
but I guess we'll find out in 2020. Yeah, October of 2027 if it closes again or not. But that was interesting. The next news is that Disney released more details about the GEO-82 lounge at Epcot that we know is going to be opening in early June, I believe June 4th. Is the adults only lounge that is sort of in the old corporate lounge that is in the back of Spaceship Earth, pretty much above where the current statue of Walt is. They released the menu, and it sounds pretty interesting. There's a lot of sort of unique, especially the cocktails kind of jumped out at me. They have things like a caramelized leek martini, a brown butter old fashioned, strawberry black pepper sour, things like that. So like definitely not the run of the mill cocktails that you find at all the bars at Disney. I think that was one element that jumped out at me. One thing though, people were wondering was like, oh, this is a big Epcot thing. It's at the back of Spaceship Earth. Are they going to have sort of cocktails that tie into Epcot and things like that? Like would they have, like aromas burning smoked old fashioned or things like that? Like kind
That'd
of
be cool.
Like, I don't know if gimmicky is the right word, but sort of themed more directly to Epcot. It doesn't seem like they went in that direction. They just went more like innovative and kind of unique cocktails. So I didn't know, what would you have preferred? Do you prefer this where it's just more of like a sophisticated upscale bar, or would you have liked them to play into the fact that it's in Epcot more?
I mean, I'm of two minds of this, right? So I think I'd prefer them to do like a styled like, menu where they're not they're not being gimmicky with the names because they kind of did that at Space 220 a
A
little bit.
yeah.
I just like a nice, like, if you're going up there, it's adult only. You kind of have more in a sophisticated mindset where you're having some drinks and that type of thing. You don't need like weird names like to enjoy basically a nice adult beverage. But I'm a sucker for like some things like the idea of like Romans burning smoked. Like I would love to be able to capture that scent. And like you ever have like one of those like smoked bourbons or something else like that where where you put if you don't know, somebody pours a bourbon, you light something on fire and they put a glass dome on it, so the smoke is infused into the liquor. It's really tasty if you like that sort of thing. I think that would be cool, but I think too many people expect that and that's just not where Disney is going. I can't remember what show it was. No, I know where it was. It was Mammoth Club. Mentioned them the second time this show, but they did kind of like a behind the scenes like show where they went like they talked to some of the master chefs and the people that make all the drinks, and they're really going for like sophisticated upscale food and beverages, and they're not looking to like make like Mickey ear old fashions and kind of making it. They're trying to actually portray something that you would see whether it be in a pub in New York City or downtown, the nice downtown.
That's what this drink menu
anywhere.
looks like. It reminds me of like an upscale, very pricey bar in Manhattan or something like that. So I guess that's what they're going for. And speaking of high prices, they said so for the most part you are going to have to make a reservation to come here anytime, and it's adults only. However, normally you can just they have some bites and food and stuff like that, and you just order for what you want. You pay for what you want. They haven't released the prices for the items yet, but what they did release is that there will be windows that overlook, out towards the center of Epcot, and there will be seats that will provide a view of the fireworks, luminous. But if you want to have one of those tables during the fireworks, obviously people would camp out and that sort of thing. So what they're doing is you have to pay like a prefix cost that gets you some snacks, I think a glass of cocktail, a glass of champagne, and some sweet treats as well and stuff like that. And then you get that table for about an hour beforehand, and then for a view of Luminous. The thing is, they're charging $179 a person for this experience to sit by a window and stare at Luminous through the window. I'm assuming they'll be playing the music in the building and stuff like that. And they said what you'll be coming with is a tasty tower of savory light bites, sweet selections, champagne poured tableside, and an event exclusive cocktails. So I don't know.
Are the cocktails included in that price?
It's not. It didn't say. And what the picture they show just shows the tower with the little light bites, a small plate that has a couple sweet treats, and then the glass of champagne. It didn't say like if those cocktails are included as well, just that they're exclusive to it, and it wasn't in the picture. Obviously, that plays a role in the value. But even with that, let's say you get 2 cocktails or something like that, $179 is a lot. And I was comparing it to other things. You could do the happily ever after dessert party, either the pre or post is $99. And that's, it's probably not as good, the beer and stuff like that, but you can have as much as you want during that time. If you want to sit for it, it's $114. I was thinking you could do the prefix dinner at California Grill is $89. And the wine pairing is $72. So you could do that for less than the $179. You get a full meal with nice wine pairings, and then you get that amazing view of Happily Ever After. I don't know. This one just seems like, I'm sure it's like there's only a handful of tables.
I was going to say, yeah.
And so they really, if it wasn't this expensive, it would just be impossible to get or something like that. But this just, it really caught everyone off guard by like how high this was. They knew it'd be pricey. They knew it'd be a cost. They're not surprised there's a cost, but just how much they're charging for what you get.
I've been thinking about this, and I think this price is reasonable.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Not reasonable for me. Like I wouldn't pay the money for this, right? But like them putting this at this price point is a reasonable business decision, I think, because there's got to be maybe 20 tables, 22 tops along the wall. I haven't. I've
in the photo, it looks like sort of almost like lower tables with like probably either 2 or 4 pushed together. Right. So like, and I don't know, a 20. I think 20 is the high end of how many seats there'd be.
Right. I mean, like I'm just guessing, but it's not a lot, right? Like it's I'm just like looking at the photo itself. Anyway, let's say there's 20. Let's use that number. There could be 10. There could be 25. There's roughly around 20 tables, right? So at that point, the tables are for the viewing are only for probably 30, 40 minutes, right? There's only one.
I think they
set of
said
tables
check-in
for that
time
group.
is like you're supposed to check in an hour before the show starts. So at
Well, what
most
I'm
it's an
saying
hour,
is
right?
right, but it's like a normal lounge, right? So people are going before and after it. There's
Oh,
only
okay. Yeah,
one segment of time where that would have value to it, right?
right.
So, like California Grill, you go up there, that could seat plenty of people up there. It's a much larger
Yep.
space for that, so that's more of an event. So they can charge. They don't have to charge as much to get the money's worth for the square footage that they have. Um, this one, it does a couple of different things. It keeps people from fighting for those tables, creating either additional people in the restaurant that it can't handle, or creating
Right.
unnecessary expectations. And if you really want to do it, you have to pay the $179 to do it. There's going to be plenty of people that were willing to splurge on doing just to say they did it for the first time. There's plenty of people to do it every day for the first time for that to be acceptable. But from a business perspective, I'm setting an expectation. This is very expensive. I'm setting the expectation if you try to wander up there, you're not going to have to be camping out seats, fighting for them, or doing all that type of thing. It is still a public space, so it's not like the California Grill, where it is a private space that you're going up to, where it's excluded from everything else that's up there. Because I think it's its own banquet halls. I've never done it.
Yeah,
Right?
it's its own space. Yeah, it was a corporate lounge and that sort of thing. But anytime you're going to need to have a reservation to get in, so you can't just walk in.
Right. But what I'm saying is like, if this didn't have reservations, you'd have people going into that public space trying to fight for those tables. Time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Be like,
yeah. I absolutely
do
do.
Time things.
It definitely
like
needs
that.
to be reserved, and there definitely needs to be a cost to it. I'm not arguing that at all.
I just think there's not that many spaces, so they could get away with a high cost of this. And the worst case scenario, that doesn't get filled, and then they just put a little sign that says reserved, and the people that are up there can't ask questions, right? So I think that's basically what they're getting at.
And I'm sure the market will set it. I'm sure for the first couple of weeks it'll be packed, and all the vloggers and everybody will check it out. And some people that have the money, it'll be no big deal to spend it. But I don't know, and they'll adjust over time if it doesn't get used and stuff like that.
It's also a terrible view of the show anyway, so
yeah,
it is.
I don't think it's that great. Yeah, somebody posted a picture from the Walt statue. Now, obviously, you'll be about 20 feet higher or something like that, so maybe the view will be a little bit better. But it's like there's trees and things in the way. Like it's not going to be a perfect view of this, and I don't know. We'll find out.
Yep. What's next?
The next thing is Disney released more details about their Cool Kids Summer program or event that they're happening. They mentioned some of this before about how they're going to be having Goofy take over Communicore Hall and Stitch was going to have a dance party and stuff like that. But they released a lot more details and some of the specifics that are going to happen. And I think, Jason, you were saying, let's go park by park, that WDWNT put out kind of a nice overview.
Actually, I have WDW Magic.
WDW Magic had it. Okay, gotcha.
So, we're going down. This kind of excited me when I heard that we're going to do some special events, and it's mostly at the resort I'm staying at. So we're going to go through park by park and what they're doing at the resorts. I found this very interesting. So we're going to see. I sent this article to my wife earlier today, and I'm like, I just want to send the link to somewhere I can remember it. And so when we start doing our planning in about like 30, 40 days, we can kind of keep this in the back of our mind. So we're going to be learning as we go along here. So at Epcot Goofy Court at Communicore Hall, beginning May 27th, there's going to be transformed into a whole bunch of stuff. So there's going to be DJ-led dance parties with a Goofy twist. I don't think we're going to be doing that because it's going to be packed, and my wife's going to be like, no, let's move on. So to me, I think it might be cool to see actually, it's just a DJ with kids. So I think it's going to be kind of lame. It's going to be a lame version of the Disney Junior Dance Party, which apparently is closing.
I mean, we'll have to see what it is. I remember I saw like at the Polynesian, they were doing like dance stuff and the kids were really into it and stuff like that. I mean, so I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah.
They do it all the time at like the pools and stuff like that, which I think is cool. Like you do it at a resort, that's extra stuff for the resort. Yeah. But when you're going from like to other rides and stuff like that, to like kind of pull you in there and then just bounce up and down with, I don't know. It might be cool. It depends on how they decorate it, but like that doesn't excite me. Yeah. Interactive games like Loopy Limbo and Parachutes in Pipsqueaks. I don't know where they're. Oh, this is all in the Communicore Hall.
Yeah, this is still all there. Yep.
That just seems like other like preschool kind of things that
it does feel like that. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't want to sit around with, unless they're serving good beer there where I can sit down.
Well, it does say nearby Florida Fresh may serve items from the Farmer's Feast menu. So it does sound like there'll be food and drinks available, at least nearby.
Again, I don't pay to go to Epcot to do stuff that my kids did 4 years ago at like Chuck E. Cheese or whatever other kind of, classroom birthday party type stuff. It closes May 12th, and the meet and greet over there is going to remain open.
Yep.
All right, so I'm like my allergies started kicking up just as I started reading this. So excuse me if my nose I start getting stuffy here. So next at the Animal Kingdom at the Wilderness Fun and Musical Finale. So over at the Animal Kingdom, kids can explore nature, animals, and music through several new offerings. Hands-on crafts at Rafiki's Planet Watch. I've never been back at Rafiki's Planet Watch, so I might go back there just to see it, just because we're going to be done with Animal Kingdom over the course of multiple days.
It's a fun place to go out to. You get to take the little train out there, and there's usually there's not always, but there's like scientists doing procedures on animals and stuff like that. It's definitely not one of those like, oh my god, you have to do this every single trip. But if you've never done it, I definitely recommend checking it out.
Yeah, it's on our list, right? In fact, I haven't set an achievement for Freaky's Planet Watch. I'm looking for my phone. My phone's a camera, so I can't. I don't know. The other one is Limited Time Wilderness Explorers Badge, available for completing summer activities. We did the badge thing the last time we were there, and my kids really enjoyed taking their books around and going to each one of the stands. There was a cast member, if you remember from my trip report, that happened to be at each stand as we went along. Like they kind of rotate throughout the day, and we timed it perfectly where that the woman, young woman that was there doing it, she remembered all of our names and everything else, because by the second or third time out of like 5 that we saw her, she was just now our best friend and like helping our family out, which was awesome. Great amount of Pixie Dust did the cast compliment for her, that type of thing. So I'm kind of excited about that one. That's kind of neat. Though we never finished our wilderness badges, we did a whole bunch of them. I think my kids will love those. And a celebration sing along at Discovery Island with original songs and storytelling from the Dino Institute intern. The only thing about this that I would love this, except for it's a Dino Institute intern, so I don't understand why they would.
I didn't understand that either. Why somebody from the Dino Institute is over on Discovery Island? I mean, I guess just the idea that it's
they're out of a job, so they got to find a job anyway.
I guess they're trying to find their next
they're
gig.
Unemployed. They're auditioning,
they're also handing out resumes to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Please, hey, I can sing too. I can do. I'm digging dinosaur bones and sing. So that seems kind of fun. I would definitely check that one out just to see what it's all about. I'm interested in all of these just to see what they're doing. Are they doing it cheaply, or are they doing it kind of funly, right? All these get at least a drive-by for me just to kind of check it out. So the next one is Hollywood Studios and Animation Courtyard, new activities and new shows. So games, crafts, and roaming performances, including magicians and jump rope artists. I love that type of thing. So my daughter, when my wife and I were at Animal Kingdom back in November, we had my youngest calls her the a tree lady, where it was basically a woman in like a leafy kind of outfit, like on stilts. So she was like 9 feet tall, and she was just kind of standing around, kind of doing some stuff. And when we showed the video to my youngest, she was like, "Oh, that's really cool. We need to find her. We need to see her." That type of thing. So she really likes the Shriekmosphere type stuff that she sees down there. Right. So roaming performers with like magicians and stuff like that, I think that'd be really cool. I just hope the jump rope artists aren't just like, all right, we have him behind a rope and they just kind of jump rope to music. That would be kind of weird, and I'd feel bad for them in 99 degree weather doing that type of thing. So maybe that is like a feat of strength, right? Like, how good could they be? Surprise character appearances throughout the day. I think that's really cool. Indoor DJ dance party with Mickey Mouse and Disney Junior friends. Where's that dance party going to be? Is that why they're closing the Disney Junior dance party there?
I don't think so, because I thought that Disney Junior is only closing for a short period of time, but maybe it's to refurbish it or to adjust it to be able to handle
I didn't
this.
know I don't know what the dates were on that, but it was closing sometime this summer.
Yeah. But if it's not there, I don't know where it would be. So.
Exactly, unless they're in the Star Wars building. I forget what it's called.
Launch Bay.
The Launch Bay. Yep. And then they're lumping in the new villains in the Little Mermaid show, which I think is unfair. But like they're like, why not? They get a freebie thing here for Hollywood Studios.
It's part of the summer offerings. Yeah.
I'll give it to them. At Magic Kingdom, there's the Big Top Bash Storybook Circus dance party with Pluto plus stilt walkers and jugglers. I think my kids would love that. Definitely go back there to check it out. Do you think this is going to be? Where would this be though? Over in the circus, because I know there's like a pavilion area by the train station to like the left of the bathrooms over there.
Yeah, I'm thinking somewhere in that area, somewhere either in front of the Big Top Souvenirs, near kind of the Casey Jr. splash area, maybe almost like on like the entrance sign type thing. I'm assuming in that area. Otherwise, I don't know where it would be.
Then the Galactic Blast at Tomorrowland DJ-led dance party with Stitch and Rocket Tower Plaza stage. the worst stage in all of
I
Disney
know.
property. In an indoor craft at Merchant of Venice tied to the Disney Pixar film Elio. I think that's really cool. I think it's a really crowded area if it's in the Merchant of
Yeah.
Venice store. It's really tight in there. But they do have two entrances and exits in there, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like I guess it's good for a crowd. Here's the one thing: like each place has crafts, right?
Mhm.
I'm very leery of Disney crafts because typically it's like here's a piece of paper. It's like basically restaurant type crafts, right?
Yeah.
Here's your packet of 3 crayons and a piece of paper that was cut out by like college program people. Like
Yeah.
they're uneven, stuff like that. So I'm curious what that would be. I do not like my kids wouldn't mind sitting down coloring because that's they love arts and crafts type of thing. I don't know if I want to spend 30 minutes in like the heat while I watch my kids like do the same thing they could have done at like the Olive Garden or something while waiting for their food to come out.
Some of those are, I mean, at least this one's indoor, so you could have like, look, take 10 minutes to color
Right.
while we check out some of the merchandise, or I go get a drink or something, like that type of a thing. But
Not in Magic Kingdom though.
well,
No
not
one's
Magic.
getting a drink at Magic Kingdom.
Well, not
so-
drink, but like a snack or something like
I
that.
said, look, if I'm watching my kids color when I'm paying like that many dollars per hour, I need an adult beverage to get through that. And then of course later this summer is the nighttime show Disney Starlight, which I hope they're saying it's late June, early July with some of those dates. We talked about this last week, so we'll keep an eye on that type of thing.
Yep. The only thing that's kind of interesting, I know Drew was kind of speculating a little bit, but we're coming up on the opening of Epic, and it kind of feels like if things don't get announced, because they haven't announced like the Not So Scary Halloween party dates yet, and so it's like if it doesn't happen, say like this week, it's like they're probably not going to announce a lot when right around the Epic opening, right? Unless they have something big that they're going to like counter program with it. So it's probably like if it's not going to happen in this week or so, it's probably not going to happen until say the end of May, early June.
That makes sense. A little counter programming, and then at the resorts, free water park admission. I don't care about that. 3 minute. I don't know why they're including this in this article.
Yeah.
The most important thing is that Pop Center Art of Animation, Caribbean Beach, and Wilderness Lodge character visits with set appearances, expanded schedules of family-friendly resort activities. Expanded schedules is basically all the normal stuff that they do there. If you're having a resort day, some of them are cool. I think, but the one thing that I think everybody's underlying here is character visits, which I've never seen at a Disney resort before, other than character meals at resorts. What I didn't know was, and I could be wrong, was Caribbean Beach and Wilderness Lodge always listed in this?
It was, yeah.
Okay, because I thought it was just some of the value resorts kind of matched.
No, I remember it was specifically these 4, because I remember it was around the time when I was looking at different options for when I go down in August, and it made me look into Wilderness Lodge, but there wasn't any DVC availability and stuff like that. So I do remember that. We've seen characters occasionally, actually at Caribbean Beach. I remember seeing Pluto and Goofy and stuff like that, but it's very rare. It's not like something happens. So this seems like it'll be much more common that they'll be having them around.
That makes sense.
Yep. And I think that just, that 30-minute early window, I think they were including that because now they're going to have characters out during that 30 minutes. That's the new element for the summer.
Okay.
That's why they mentioned it. But
so those are the cool kid summer type stuff. None of them are like massively interesting to me. Like, oh my gosh, we have to make time for that. But like, this is the type of thing that they should always be having when you're spending that much money. Like, so this is like, okay, I'm not impressed because you should be doing this for the amount of money that we're spending. Like, hire a couple people, do arts and crafts for the kids, or have characters running around. Like that's always. I'm not angry that that's not always there, but I'm just like, this is cool. Let's see it continue, please.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I mean, they're talking about having these. I mean, not necessarily these specific things, but a lot of them seem like some of the entertainment they have that they used to have more of in World Showcase, or how they used to do the March of the Stormtroopers in Hollywood Studios and stuff like that. Like there used to be more. These are obviously a little more geared towards little kids, but it's the type of thing they used to just have more regularly. So it's great that they're having it, but they should just be having stuff like this all the time.
Like 100%.
Last news item, and I'll try to go through this quick, but they did release more details about Walt Disney A Magical Life, which is the animatronic of Walt Disney that's going to be coming to Disneyland, where it's on a rotating stage. They'll be alternating between this show and The Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, starting July 17th at Disneyland. The way the show is going to be is they're going to have a 15-minute version of the One Man's Dream video played, so the one that you see at Hollywood Studio, and then a 2-minute speech from the animatronic Walt Disney. Apparently, there's a lot in these articles about how the Imagineers spent more than 7 years working on it, and they've apparently got a lot of new techniques they had to develop to make the animatronic looks convincingly like Walt and stuff like that. And one of the details they mentioned is they've tried to be as authentic as they could, and they tried to find the same hair product he used, but apparently it's not like available anymore. They just couldn't get it, so they used something that like a man in that time frame. They're making it. It's set in 1963, so it's getting ready for the World's Fair and stuff like that. So they are using a hair product that was available at that time. But that's like the level they went into it, that sort of thing. So the question I had is this something excites you that would be like a must do if you had a trip to Disneyland? And it also made me wonder, because this is alternating with their historic show with a president. What would you think if they redid or adjusted Hall of Presidents so that it kind of alternated between showing Hall of Presidents and showing Walt Disney?
I mean, I think it's. I mean, again, I'm the guy that always loves something new, right?
Right.
I don't hold on to the past. So I'm probably maybe the. I was gonna say maybe the wrong person to ask. Maybe I'm a good person to ask. I don't know. You're asking me anyway, right? Yeah, this excites me. Would this be a must do in Disneyland? Yes, I've never been to Disneyland, so obviously I want to see everything.
Right.
I would want to time it so I can see both shows when they're available. I would welcome this to the Hall of Presidents. I haven't done the Hall of Presidents in like 5 or 6 years, and again, put something new there. Change it to the Muppets. Do something.
It made me think of it too, because there was that rumor came back up because we still haven't heard anything about what they're doing with the Hall of Presidents. So I guess the rumor came up that they're maybe thinking about putting the Muppets in there or something like that. But I thought maybe this is something they could do if this goes over well. Bring it to the East Coast as well.
Yeah, I'm always excited to see what the Imagineers are doing, what they're coming up with. So here's another question though for you: are they going to release a official Disney World video of this, or are we going to have to rely on like vloggers videotaping it, or are they going to ban like recording equipment during it?
No, they definitely won't ban recording equipment. I'm sure people will be able to do it. I don't know if they'll release the whole thing. I mean, they'll definitely release clips and stuff like that. But if you want to see the whole like show, we might have to rely on vloggers a little bit. And stuff
that's my point. Like, if this is such a massive thing, obviously it's Walt himself in animatronic form. Are they going to rely on vloggers to like make sure they videotape it properly, or are they going to be like, look, it's going to be out there anyway. There's no way that we're going to prevent anybody.
I mean, it might be a good idea this way, just especially in case, God forbid, something goes wrong, and that's the version that gets out there when it doesn't work as intended. Maybe they do put something out ahead of time of like, okay, we've recorded it a couple times before we're opening it to the public. Yeah, it might be a good idea to do that.
I mean, that's what I would do. I'll be like, it's going out there anyway. Because the vast majority of the people in the country are not going to go to Disneyland to see it. Most people go to Disney World as it is. I don't think it's damaging their choices. Like, oh, well, I saw it. I'm not going to plan my Disneyland trip now, type of thing, right? And the locals are still going to go anyway to see it in person. So, I mean, I think that would be smart. Any other news, Phil?
Nope, that was the stuff I had there.
All right, great. So let's go into some construction updates. There's not many. Of course, I didn't update this the way I wanted to. I'm going to do it real quick here. There's some Big Thunder tracks were installed again this week. So nothing major. It's just, Drew the Disney Dude found the cranes kind of moving again. So they're moving along on that. I don't know, Phil, I assumed that like all the track was in already. But obviously that's not the case. I don't know why I thought that, but like they haven't put in new track in a while, so I thought they were done with it. But I guess
I thought so too. I feel like there was a story even that said like the track replacement was finished, and that's why we thought maybe the whole thing was going to get done quicker than we thought. But I guess maybe they were done with part of it, and then they still had to get the part that's more inside the mountain done, or I don't know. But yeah, they're still working on it.
The only Epcot thing is the GEO-82 opening date is June 4th, so that's there. We talked about that already. Hollywood Studios. Now, here's something that's kind of funny. At least if you were on WDW Magic forums in the first year or two of COVID, there was a facade on one of the stores that basically collapsed, right? And it was heavy, and people are like, oh, how can Disney cheap out on maintenance and all this other type of stuff? And apparently it has been fixed, and there's some facade theming on this. This is courtesy of Blog Mickey. So they still have walls around it, but it's getting fixed finally, slowly. I don't know, but I just thought it was kind of funny. Grand Floridian construction walls are up. Actually, excuse me. Let me just update that real quick. The bird cage is gone, and there's more walls up in the lobby. So that's kind of going started even faster than we thought. And then at Pop Century, which I didn't know, is that they're doing some room refreshes that'll be finished in February of next year. And they look actually really nice. Like I always
Yeah.
consider like all the All Stars, the Pops, and stuff like that for like just kind of cheapish type rooms. They're generally smaller than moderates, but they look really nice actually. So
Yeah, it's
if you
funny.
look,
They didn't make major changes, but even just now, not all the walls are white. They painted some of the walls, and
Mhm.
like I think that helped a lot. And what I thought was a rug on the ground, I guess, is just an inlay, but it's like a pattern to kind of look like a rug in the middle of the room. That adds to it too. So yeah, it definitely feels a little less sterile
yeah,
than it did before. I like it a lot.
yeah, I think you'd be hard pressed to determine if it was a value or a moderate just by looking at
Yeah,
pictures
yeah,
and,
for sure.
and not feeling the size of it. So I thought that's really cool. So those are the construction updates. No major things. Reminder of our social media. In case you don't know it already, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel, or Blue Sky, all at the DBC Pod. Make sure you join Discord. The links are all over the place. Join the conversation. Join the DBC engagement because we have a good one this week, which leads me to our topic for the day. Phil, it is your turn to let us know what your top 5 lessons learned as a WDW Walt Disney World veteran. Now, these are not lessons that you would give a veteran, but things that you've learned by just happenstance or circumstances changing. That as a veteran, you've come to appreciate these new things that you've done. So, Phil, why
Yep.
don't you go away, and I will critique or applaud your
Okay.
answers.
Yeah. So I tried to build off some of yours, but not totally copy you, and also tried to not repeat some of what the community had said because they got some of their answers in before I put mine. So I know there's some things there about like you don't have to rope drop and stuff like that, which I definitely would agree with. So my 5 are: one was built off a little bit of one when you had about doing like a secondary shorter trip or something. Mine is just mix up your trips. Sometimes it feels like some people do like, well, we do our week in every July. Like that's the week we go down and that's it. It's like, you don't have to do that all the time. Maybe instead of doing that, do a long weekend in the holiday season, or even it could be smaller things like, well, we always get 6-day tickets, but it's like, well, maybe try doing 5 days, but with hoppers, or 5 days and do a party or something, just mix it up to try to avoid some of the repetition. And it doesn't always have to be the same length and the same time of year and stuff like that. Another one was also to build off that is don't feel like you have to be in the parks to get the Disney feels. I had this on some of my past trips where it's just like as soon as you get on property and you start like resort hopping or taking some of the modes of transportation and stuff like that, that gives a lot of the Disney feels too. So don't discount that. Don't feel like you have to be in the parks every day.
Yep.
Another one I had was, this is one of my big tips with my family, is to get a few, but just a few must-dos from each member of your family or your traveling party or whatever. And what you do is you make those a priority. So you really try to make sure those happen, but don't try to do everything. You're not going to be able to do everything. Let more things come with the flow, but you do have some of those anchor points to kind of make sure that those are things you want to accomplish.
Going back to your second point
Yeah.
in conjunction with your third, resort hopping, like, to me, a lot of people may think that it's just for adults. Like you're going, eating at restaurants, going to bars and lounges, that sort of thing. Kids love it too.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least my kids do, right? So we resort hopped where we go over to the Contemporary. The kids like seeing the mural. We don't really hang out there too much, but they like going on the monorail, which brings us over to the Polynesian. Kids just love going shopping in the Polynesian,
Yeah.
just being there, right? Like we're not doing anything fancy. We're not going to Trader Sam's or whatever, but we'll get like a drink somewhere or let them get a Dole Whip or something else like that, and they enjoy that. And they go to the Grand Floridian, and we're usually there for, well, maybe the last time that we'll ever be there for is the Gingerbread House. We'll see as that comes, but we go there during the holidays. So they really like that, and you could do that. You could do that at any of the areas. It doesn't have to be the monorail resorts. It could be over at Crescent Lake and stuff like that too. So I think it's important to consider. It's just not an adult thing.
Yeah,
kids can enjoy it too.
That's a good one. Yeah, my kids love the Skyliner. We do the Skyliner over to Caribbean Beach to go to Banana Cabana almost every trip. We always a lot of trips fit in just doing the monorail where you go down to Epcot, where it kind of goes through Epcot and like kind of just take it back. Sometimes we'll just do that as like a monorail ride. So yeah, or take the boat from Disney Springs up to Port Orleans, something like that. There's a lot of things like that like you said, kids enjoy too.
It's an adventure for the kids because it's something different.
Yeah, exactly. Tip number 4 I have is don't chase low wait times, and kind of a part of this is avoid crisscrossing.
This
the
is
park.
a big one.
It's really easy once you start getting into having the Lines app and all that sort of stuff to be like, oh guys, like Pirates is only 10 minutes. Let's go. It's like, okay, well, it's great that it's only 10 minutes, but you're over by Space Mountain. It's going to take you a while to crisscross the park.
Yep.
And by the time you get there, it might not be 10 minutes. And you're just wasting a lot of time and energy crisscrossing the park. So
this is, to me, this is an excellent point. Sorry for interrupting. But this is a rookie mistake. And this is I guess the phase, if you go from like my once in a lifetime visit to now we're going every year, like my transitionary time was like 5-6 years ago was going from like, oh, this is a fun family vacation to like, we're now going as much as possible. Right.
Yeah.
So there's that period of time where when you become that planner, where you start trying to maximize every single minute that you're in the park. So you will chase wait times. So Phil, this is an excellent veteran's tip is, if you understand the way the park works and now you're a veteran, you've been there a couple different times, crisscrossing the parks affects days after this because you get tired. And it also, at least to me, this is a me-ish issue, me problem, I guess. When you're crisscrossing the park so much, the park loses value. The magic gets diminished because now you're it's like either a treadmill or or a track at this point. You're running past the great stuff. You're ignoring the music, ignoring that. You're just kind of dragging your family along. I know there was one trip that we did 2 Christmases ago where we had lightning lanes for Big Thunder Mountain. I was very proud to get that in when it was already sold out, and I'm just dragging my family through the park. Let's go. We got 10 minutes left, and it's just like it's not enjoyable at that point. So don't chase wait times. It's better to spend an extra 10 minutes in a 20-minute wait where you are versus a 10-minute wait across the park. Because now crisscrossing makes it awful. So good point.
And the last one I came up with, I hope this one comes across, but like, I know there's always reports about like people misbehaving and stuff like that in Disney, but I feel like for the most part, people, cast members and guests, are friendly at Disney.
Yes.
And people are happy to be there. And, you know, I know this, I've probably mentioned this before, but my oldest daughter, she's pretty introverted. She doesn't go out that much, but when she's at Disney, it seems like she's more comfortable talking to people and stuff. And she'll mention like, I love your outfit or your ears or something like that. And they usually like light up and are excited to get the compliment and stuff like that. So, don't be afraid to like chat up people, even if that's not your normal personality. People just seem, because we're all there because we all love Disney, and you know, it's a lot nicer to talk to people and just chat them up and compliment them on something like that. Or if you see they have a happy birthday button on, say happy birthday and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know. It's one of those things that feels like you can do at Disney much more than you can do in the real world. So just something to keep in mind.
My wife does this all the time. Like, I don't know if this is maybe this is going to get me in trouble, but my wife is a closet Disney fan. Like, she's a closet Disney fanatic, right? Like, I'm open with like my fandom. Obviously, I have a podcast that we've been doing for 5 years, right? But like, she goes from like, oh, it costs a lot of money. She takes like the typical grumpy like dad role about going to Disney. Like, the roles have been reversed in her family. Yeah. But when she gets there, she has a pair of ears for every single day that she's there. Like, she's got her Cinderella Loungefly that she's had for almost a decade at this point. Yeah. I mean, she has her outfits. She played like Haunted Magic outfits. Like, I was like, do you want to do t-shirts for our adult trip? So no, I have outfits for our Magic Kingdom today. I have outfits for this. I'm like, oh wow. I don't know why it constantly surprises me, because she doesn't talk to me about it. She just has these things and she does them. And I'm much more of like, obviously a planner. Like, I have to have those conversations. But when she's there, she notices everybody's outfit and ears and everything else. And she loves complimenting people on it because she wants to be complimented herself. And I think that's the one thing that's great. Like you mentioned, the guests there, when they are dressing up, they love to talk about it. I don't think there's anybody there that has a pair of ears or a custom shirt or anything else that would look at you oddly if you comment on what they're there. Everybody there that has that much excitement to get custom clothing for it, they want to talk about it. They're excited to talk about it. They're excited to be there. So it's a great conversation to have when you're in line past the time and meet new people and stuff like that. So yes, that's 100% a good one. And I'm glad you brought it up. I wish I brought this one up. This is a really good one.
So those are my 5 tips as a veteran that I tried to think of that didn't overlap with other people. So there you go.
Yeah, and we asked the community this last week, and they did a very excellent job. Let's run through some of these here, Phil, and we can round out the show. So Lumpy had a really interesting one. He says he didn't think he has 5, but he have one that they used that backfired. And it essentially goes on when his 2 oldest got into their high school age where they're comfortable just letting them run wild throughout Disney World and kind of do their own thing. let them sleep in or do whatever they wanted to do, but the kids were ready to go every single morning on their vacation and like surprised them, and they were able to have awesome Disney trips. However, once they got into college and they were starting to take care of themselves, it basically super backfired on him. He has a really cool story on Discord. You could go read it, but it essentially came down to his son basically overslept and basically quote unquote ruined their Epcot day because they had to come back and check up on him, get him up because the light timing was all off and all this other stuff. So it was kind of a chuckle there. So now they're like making sure that everybody's
Yeah, he said in the story that they kind of said that to their teenagers, like, okay, if you don't want to do a rope drop, that's fine. Like, you stay back, get up when you want. You can come to the parks on your own. And they always were just like, no, we're ready to go. Like, we're at this, blah, blah, blah. But then when one of his sons got to college, he did the same thing. And I guess he was so like partied out from being at college, he just like never woke up and that sort of things. So they were fully expecting him to be ready, whatever. And then he just never got out of bed or anything like that. So it's kind of funny.
That's funny. So Ryan W has a couple good ones here. And I don't think these are in any particular order for anybody. It says, try outdoor rides in the morning to avoid lightning closures, which is an excellent one. So you have a lot of outdoor attractions will close during lightning times. So the opposite kind of advice to this is if you know that there's going to be a lightning storm later in the day, book all of the outdoor rides in a multi-pass as a lightning lane, because when they inevitably get canceled, they will give you a anytime lightning lane multi-pass. And you can if you're going out to lunch, start booking them if there's a rainstorm, because then you can kind of get some anytime ones and start cranking those out.
Or even if you want to use them, then when they come back up, you have the priority as somebody with the lightning lane or whatever.
Yes. Number 2 is pack empty Ziploc bags to put wet socks in. Now, in all fairness to Ryan, I don't think this is a veteran tip, but this is a very good tip for Disney World goers. But I think this one's on everybody.
And the second part of that is make sure you have extra pair of socks, which I think came up in my
that's
last
helpful.
trip report.
Table service restaurants double as rest times. Again, I don't think this is a lesson learned as a veteran, but I think this is a lesson learned as a new parent, because I know Ryan has some young ones out there. I learned this quite quickly in my second or third trip there. We've talked about like table service and dining plan conversations all over the place. This is another value add if you want to upgrade to the Disney dining plan that allows these relaxation points. Number 4 was utilize resort shipping. It's reasonably priced and saves you carrying. They do this, and this is we've done this with a lot of Christmas ornaments that we didn't want to get damaged. It's a very, very useful thing. We haven't really, me personally, I haven't utilized this because we've driven down so many times now. It just goes right in the car.
We've definitely used that though. Like I remember one trip, my daughter got this big giant stitch that she wanted as part of like her birthday present. And then we had that plus a couple shirts and like notebooks and stuff like that. And they all packed it up, and it was like, I want to say it was like $12 or something like that to ship it. It's like totally reasonable versus having to have like an extra suitcase or anything like that.
Yeah, there's like my mistake was, I think, God goodness, I think it was like in 22 when I went down. You asked me to buy, was it a Figment Magic Band at Epcot?
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah,
and I bought them like, oh, we'll ship it when we get back. It's small, we could fit in whatever our luggage. And I think it cost more for me to ship it.
Probably did, yeah,
from like the local FedEx place than it was at Disney. So do it anyway. They don't upcharge you on it unless it's something like, I guess, kind of crazy or whatever. Number 5 is if going with kids under 7, scale back what you think you can accomplish in a day. It will save you from meltdowns later in your trip. I think that goes with adults too.
I was going to say, and teenagers as well.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going for a longer visit where you're having multiple park days, multiple same park days, don't push yourself. Yep. Mama 6 has 5 too. Number 1, I'm getting too old for the rope drop to close in the parks. Let me take a nap or swim like a toddler living their best life. Again, that just goes back to Ryan's number 5. It's like, go at your own pace. Like you're coming. If you're listening to this, you're probably going to Disney World again. And if you haven't, if you don't think, if you're listening to this and you've never been, or you're considering like going back for the second time, thank you for listening to our podcast. But the vast majority of people have going to Disney World all the time. If you're listening to this, so you're going again. You can get on another attraction that you haven't been on. You're not going to miss it. So that's a good one. Bring frozen plastic water bottles to in your park bag and drink as they melt. This is an okay thing. I've done this. They don't melt fast enough in your bag, and you really want a deep drink of water when it's super hot outside, and this is not going to help.
Usually what we do, and this works better if you're staying in like DVC or something with like a real fridge and freezer and stuff like that, is we'll freeze a few and then we'll put them with other ones that aren't frozen. Like some will be in the fridge, some will be in the freezer,
Mm.
and those frozen ones kind of keep the other ones cold. So you have those first, and then by the end of the day, the frozen ones are good. But so in general, the tip is good, but you just have to, you're
plan
right.
accordingly.
Yeah, plan accordingly. At like 10 a.m., you go for that water, it might still be frozen. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that once where we froze we had a water bottle that we froze, and then I went to go drink it. I'm like, I'm still thirsty. I'm like, my son is holding it up to the sun to melt. I'm like, that's not going to melt faster. But it is good if you have other food in your bags and stuff like that you want to keep cold, like a mid-morning snack or that type of thing. By the time it's done and you've eaten it later in the day, that's going to be nice and cold for you. So yeah, for sure. Don't go to a park every day of your trip. I don't know if I agree with this. I'm trying to still live my best life where I have the expectation where I have a ticket every day for a park that I can just go for a couple hours and that's it. And I'm learning as an adult that's very, very hard to do. And then I end up getting tired. But no, it is good. I always tell people if you're going for multiple days, never go to parks 3 days in a row. Have that one day off. Go have dinner somewhere. Do something nice. Secure magic bands with small hair elastics around the clasps to keep them from popping off of rides. This is an excellent one, and I'm still trying to find those 3D printed like clasps. I don't know why Disney doesn't sell. I think we've talked about this on the show.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
I don't know why Disney doesn't sell little Mickey clips that you could put around your magic band for the kids to keep them from falling off. Because I can't tell you how many times my kids have lost their magic bands, and we've only lost one permanently. We found him ultimately, but yeah, it's terrible. Number 5, don't rush your kids. Walk slow and take it all in. We've talked about that one. Keep it easy. TL Madden. He's got a long one here. I'm going to go over these real quick. Take a long meal break. So there's the sit down meal break. Family running slower than you want. Take a deep breath. Try not to think of it as a cascade of effects. So have your vacation in the vacation. Don't let your project management brain.
Yeah, I can personally say I think I resemble that comment. So it's all good.
Yes, you do. I've seen when I saw you at the parks. This was after I saw you on Peter Pan. After we did the Festival of the Fantasy Parade, and we wanted to grab I think we're heading over to the Jungle Cruise. And oh, you want to go take a picture? You were like, Jason just wanted me to do something else. I've got to do this. I got to go do this. I saw your eyes start calculating milliseconds of time loss, and I was just like, all right, I got to shut up and let Phil go do his thing. But yes. You got to be able to chill with that one because you end up just irritating everybody. Number 3, stop and smell the roses. This is the vacation in the vacation type of thing, right? Yeah. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he brings up playgrounds, hidden Mickeys. We're going to do the achievement thing. We'll talk about it later on in the year if that was successful. Number 4, use your phone for photos and mobile ordering only. Don't get sucked into scanning and refreshing for your next lightning lane. That's very hard to do.
Yeah.
If you were good at it, it doesn't really get you sucked in. Only time it gets you sucked in is if you're trying to perfect everything. I recommend refreshing and getting better things, but if you're not finding anything by the second or third refresh, chill. It'll come up later, maybe. If not, go have some fun, right? So don't get paranoid. My first day with Genie Plus, I was absolutely obsessed with getting I was like, I am going to beat Phil. I'm going to get as many as possible. I'm going to be amazing. And I did. But I spent my whole time managing our day, and it was just, when looking back to it, I'm like, what did I do to myself? So yeah, don't do that. If your trip is longer for 4 days, have a resort day. We talked about that already. Joe C is talking about turn off all notifications off their phone. I do something very similar. This is a very good one. I bring my work phone with me, but I turn it completely off, and I check it every other day just in case I know something doesn't blow up. My boss has my personal number, so if there is emergency, he will call me, and I trust him not to bother me when I'm on vacation too. So that's a very good one. Make sure you learn to relax. Don't bring your PC or laptop down there. I could get some work done. No, don't do any work. You spend
I'm really bad about that.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Phil. Phil's going to be there writing out reports while we're waiting in line.
I know. I'm really bad about that.
On Tuesday. Number 2 is too much structure makes me calm and happy, but gives other anxiety. Find the sweet spot. A lot of people, this is different for everybody's family. Some people like every single second mapped out. Some people don't like anything mapped up. Talk to your family, talk to your kids as they get older, figure out what they want to do. Don't zigzag around the parks. Know your party. It's another thing we talk. All gas, no brakes is great advice for NASCAR, but not for Disney. Again, calm yourself. Don't go nuts. We've all talked about that before. He says, I get a joy from making other people's trips the best visit ever. I'm a reserved guy who doesn't show or express emotions well. My trip in January felt like me letting my family know I love them. And when they realized that behind the scenes effort I put in, action spoke louder than words was the trouble he was saying. Anyway, some people express themselves in a lot of different ways. Find the way that works best for you, and allow Disney to be your happy place. And I think that's really good. And Brett, who doesn't comment very much, but he managed to come in and to go, give us one thing, which I really appreciate. For those that haven't been working with in the DVC engagement on a week-to-week basis, today I'm making this podcast Brett's because he engaged, and he's not a person that normally engages, and hopefully that changes, and he engages every single week. So Brett, we appreciate you. And his answer was, don't do a park day and on a Halloween or Christmas party in the same day. It's too exhausting. Take a midday break. This is excellent advice, but I will modify this. If you are not going to the Halloween or Christmas party and you have hoppers, those days are the best days to do this, because then you could do Magic Kingdom in the morning, and while everybody's going over for the party, you can go to other parks too and get some lower crowds in that morning. So it does typically work that way. But yes, mind the Halloween and Christmas parties, which are basically half the year at this point anyway. Yeah. So, Brett, we appreciate you jumping in, and today this podcast is for you. Okay, so next week's DVC engagement, because we talked about our trip is basically going down to Hollywood Studios to say goodbye to Muppets. The DVC engagement for this week is named up to 3 attractions. You can have 0. You can say like nothing is that, or just 1. You don't have to name 3, but up to 3. Keep it nice and short and succinct. Attractions currently at Walt Disney World that would inspire you to book a trip just to see it one last time before it closed or changed. So like, is it Pirates? Is it Haunted Mansion? Is it Slinky Dog Dash? Is it like, let's say they were replacing the mission in Millennium Falcon, and you really want to see it because that getting coaxium was your favorite thing to do in life. You wanted to see it one more time. What would it be? Something like that. So yeah, what are things that would actively make you take a trip out of your normal Disney World vacation cadence to go down there specifically and spend the money to make sure you saw it one last time? And what I don't want to hear is you planning family vacations around going down there the one last time. That doesn't count. This is like, I wasn't going to go to Disney World, but I'm going out of my way to go down there. Yeah. Right. Because I think a lot of people said, well, we're saying goodbye to Dinosaur because our family vacation was last year. So we made sure we wanted to say goodbye to Dinosaur. That doesn't count because we were there anyway. This is like what me and Phil are doing, where we're going out of our way to kind of do that. Did I make that clear, Phil?
That's clear. I did just want to clarify. Are we keeping it to like attractions like rides, or can they also be like if Happily Ever After was going away, you would make an extra
It could be a restaurant. It could be anything on property, right? Yeah. Like you want to go, this is basically you booking a random Disney World trip for like 1 day, 2 days, whatever it might be, just to see one specific thing go away. So maybe name top 3 experiences, attractions, shows, entertainment, anything. It could be like your favorite square of pavement in Liberty Square is going away, and you need to say goodbye to it for whatever reason. Maybe it was a square of ground that you put your knee down when you proposed to your spouse. And you want to do it, recreate it one last time. I don't know what it is. It could be anything, right? Like that's my point. Like, what gets you to go to Disney World where you weren't planning to go anyway, to say goodbye to one last thing because that was your favorite thing, type of thing. So I'm always curious what motivates people to go to Disney World outside of a standard family vacation that they're doing, or their standard. It doesn't have to be a family vacation, obviously, but like your standard vacation that you would normally plan. What makes you go outside of that normal type of trip? And for those locals down there that go all the time or have access to go all the time, I guess let's put it this way. What is your one top experience where you would make sure you got there super early in the day, like wake up before you had to go to work just to make sure you said goodbye to something that's there? That worked for the locals down there, Phil? Like, what would motivate you to get up at 4:00 in the morning, wait online, so you could be in the parks at 7:30 a.m. to say goodbye to this thing because you have work at 10. So you make sure you got it in there the last second. I don't know. Locals usually cheat at these type of things because you go all the time. So, but we do have locals. I want to make them. Anyway, Phil, we're just over the hour mark. Did I forget anything? Are we good to go?
No, I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go. Try to get in some sleep tonight because we won't sleep tomorrow night.
No. Well, how long is your drive to the airport?
It's only I'll time it again, but considering that early in the morning, there shouldn't be too much traffic, so it's probably like an hour and 20, hour and a half. It's not bad at all.
Oh, that's not too bad. I've got an extra hour on you, so I think it's like 2.5 hours to get up there. So, in any case, we're going to plan that out. By the time you're hearing this, we'll be landing in Orlando, or we will be in Hollywood Studios. Phil will be active on Twitter, I'm sure, taking pictures and posting them. I will be posting pictures in Discord. of all the fun things that we're doing with Yumi and Matt and his friend, just to make everybody jealous. Ha ha. Anyway, that being said, everybody, thank you for watching, listening. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.